Hey everybody, I'm going to be kind of talking my way through this, some pictures here, and I'll explain why in a few minutes as to why I'm doing pictures and not video in this one. When I originally looked at the house, I knew that I wanted to put on an insulated garage door because I wanted to increase the efficiency of the house, but I also wanted to make it more comfortable in the garage since I spend some time out there, kind of working and bopping. It's kind of my man cave, if you will. But when we went through on the walkthrough right before I went to closing, I noticed that it actually had an insulated garage door on it. So, I mean, that was a happy bonus for me because when we did the original walkthrough, I didn't really pay attention to it. But when I bought the house, it had an original LiftMaster Professional on it, which was the old Security Plus series that they had. So it was a little bit better than rolling code technology. Now I'm going to do two different episodes. I'm going to do this one where I'm talking about, me doing some upgrades on the garage, but I'm actually going to do a completely separate video when it comes to the security series on securing the garage, because I think there's a bunch of stuff that people don't really pay attention to or know about. And I think it's pretty well overlooked when you're securing your house. But I'm sticking to the first video right now about the update. So as I said, it had a LiftMaster Professional on it, which was the original Security Plus series, but it came with two garage door openers. One didn't work at all. I replaced the batteries in it and it still didn't work. And the other one only worked about 50% of the time. And on top of that, it was built in 2008, so the old door seals that go around the garage were fairly well hard and worn. So as you can kind of see here in some of the pictures, it's letting light leak around the edges, and they're not the best pictures, so I apologize, but we had just moved in. But so I called the number that was listed on the garage, and it actually rang to a new company. I guess they had bought out the original company, and they sent someone over to do the updates I wanted on it. So the other thing is the outdoor keypad. I guess it was pretty well sun worn, and it looked kind of beat, and that needed to be replaced as well. So when the guy gets there, he's in his early 20s, nice young man. But the first thing he did was he pulled out a pair of PVC pipe cutters, which kind of gave me a little pause, kind of like, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it with these. And he also pulled out a finish nail gun, battery powered finish nail gun. And finish nails, if you don't know, are usually typically made out of steel, and they're used for interior work, for crown molding and kickboards and that sort of thing. So that kind of gave me a little pause. What he should have been using was white aluminum trim nails, because they're made for outdoors and they kind of match. But again, he said he knew what he was doing. He said he'd been doing it for a couple months, and the company that he worked for trained him. And I let him get to work, but I kind of monitored what he was doing just to make sure that he wasn't messing it up. And honestly, he got the left side of the door done, the trim done. Well, first of all, he pulled off the old trim that was there, and he didn't scrape away the old caulk. So, I said, hey, we need to scrape this off. And so I stopped him, and we did that. And then he started using this pair of hand PVC pipe cutters to cut the vinyl trim. And he got the left, and I went inside to do a couple things, and I come out, he had done the left-hand side and then up the left corner and had started doing the overhead, and I just had to stop him, and I said, hey, look, I don't think this is going to work out. He said, why? What's going on? I said, well, the fitment's not right. It's, you obviously don't know what you're doing. I said, I'm sorry. I tried to be as polite as I could because, again, he was a nice kid. And but I had to just let him go. I called the company and said, hey, this isn't going to work out. I'm going to find somebody else to do the work. So let's take a look. I took some pictures and sent it to them. So let's look at the pictures now. As you can see, he didn't cut the angles right. It was just not good quality work. And there was gaps and openings where air and wind and water could come through. And it was obviously that he didn't know what he was doing. Like, it should have been cut kind of like at this picture at a 45-degree angle, so there's overlapping between the seals as it goes around, so water and air can't come through. And here's the deal. Was I mad at this kid? Absolutely not. Like, he was a super nice kid. He's young, maybe late teens, early 20s. He's trying to sit there and learn a trade, provide for his family, earn a living. And that's awesome. But whoever is the contractor that taught him how to do this stuff, someone should go find this dude and smack him, because here's a kid that's trying to do the right thing, stay out of trouble, provide for his family and earn a living, and he wasn't taught right. And he goes out and he starts doing work, and it's just wrong. Right. So, I mean, by the time, if he says he's been doing this for 6 months, how many other houses has he worked on while he was in his training? Plus, when they let him go out and do this stuff on his own. So I kind of feel bad for the kid. But this is just crappy contractors trying to pump and dump and make money and get more people out in the world making money for them, because I'm sure obviously they charge me X price for doing the work, and then they're taking part of the profit instead of teaching this kid right. And a lot of contractors, for homeowners out there, I don't know if you know this or not, but a lot of these contractors, they provide them some tools, and sometimes they're not the best tools. So what ends up happening is a lot of these guys go out and spend their own money out of their own pocket to buy tools. And I don't know if they provided the tools that he was using, like this little finished nail gun that he brought out, or this PVC pipe cutter, but it was the wrong tools for the wrong job. So I hope he didn't go out and spend his own money on this stuff, because he bought the wrong stuff. But I wish someone would find the contractor, the subcontractor that taught this kid, and kind of smack him around a bit and go, hey, if this kid's going to be interning with you, teach him right, so that way he can go out, earn a good living, do a good job, and have pride in himself at the end of the day. So, but long story short, I had to let him go, and I told him, I said, hey, it's not your fault. You need to, I don't blame you. It's not your fault. You were taught wrong. You need to go back and find out who taught you, and tell them they need to teach you right. But I had to let him go at the end of the day. And because it was coming up, there was a storm coming up, and it was supposed to be getting really cold and really rainy. I needed to get this done, because I wanted to be out in the garage kind of doing some stuff, and since I just moved in the house. And I called around and no one could do it. So I was calling everybody in the region, and I ended up calling this company, and I'm not sponsored by them. They didn't give me any free work, none of this stuff. But they did just an absolutely fantastic job. The kind of old guy that came out there to do the work, he had obviously been around a minute. And just for your information, again, I'm not sponsored by this company. No one's paying me to tell you who they are, but they just did an absolutely fantastic job. And it was Wilson Overhead Door Service, so they were fairly close to Raleigh. But it was a bit of a rainy day, and they came right out, and the guy that came out knew exactly what he was doing. I had a pair of sawbucks right behind him. I said, hey, do you want to use a sawbucks or whatever else? But he measured everything up right, and he had a circular saw, so he could cut through it nice and clean and put good angles on it. And then the other thing about it is both companies, both Wilson Overhead Door Service and this other company, I said, hey, let's make sure we get a good caulking bead around it. And they said, well, usually people don't do that. Well, that's, in my opinion, wrong. So Wilson Overhead Door Service did a really good job, but I went out and bought a couple tubes of caulking, and I caulked all the way around between the aluminum and the interior wood. So I put a nice bead there, and then all the way around the door. So when we put it on, it sealed it. And he did the exact right thing. He was using the correct nails, the white aluminum trim nails, so it looked really good. But he put, he measured out all that, and he put the circular saw on it and cut it by hand, and it was perfect every time. The guy obviously knew what he was doing. The fact that they were able to come out and get it done pretty quickly, but it looks really nice. And the one thing I want to say about the finished nails versus the brad versus the trim nails, is that the head on it, when he was popping it in with the nailer that he was using, it wasn't holding it to the side of the house because there was nothing to grip onto it. Where the white aluminum trim nails would grab onto it and hold it securely. But once everything was in, you can see the difference right there, how nice it looks. He got the angles right. There's overlap between the vinyl seals, so that way any water that hits it from rain actually drains off, as opposed to where you can see here where there's just not any kind of overlap and there's gaps, right? So did a super good job. Got 2 brand new remote controls for the garage, and they put on a new outside keypad, and they put on a nice new interior keypad, and that is Security Plus 2.0. So that's the indoor control panel. Sorry, I said keypad, I meant control panel. And then they also gave me the internet gateway, so that way I could hook it up to the network, and therefore I would be able to control it via the app on my phone. So, when you go into the application, you can set up the security, right? So you can go into the security settings and use touch code. So that way, in the future series where I'm talking about what part of the automation I did for the houses, I've got iPads on the walls where I can control the whole home. But if I have it open, I don't want someone to be able to just walk up, because I think the iPads have a 60-second, 2-minute, 120-second timeout, and be able to open up the garage door. So I have it set up so you can even get into the application, but if you want to actually get into the application to open or close the garage door, you also need to use your fingerprint. So there's some additional security there. But anyway, I'll get into more of the security series, the physical security that I did to the garage and the other, but I just kind of wanted to talk through that. So, I mean, my last kind of final thoughts on this are, for contractors out there, number one, I know that it can be annoying for homeowners to stand there and watch you and kind of look over your shoulder and see what you're doing. But for contractors, you got to understand, a house is the largest investment a homeowner will ever make in their entire lives, and you're working on their baby. So if they're kind of standing there and watching you and asking questions, yeah, again, I've been on the reverse side. So it can be a little bit annoying, but remember, they're trying to learn something. You're doing something to their house. And for the homeowners out there, don't just walk away and say, okay, the contractor's got it, and assume that they're doing a quality job. You got to kind of make sure that they have an idea of what they're doing and they're doing a good job for you. Otherwise, you end up with a garage that's not sealed and it's letting air and water through, or anything else for that matter. It doesn't matter if it's garage, it's the plumber or the electrician. Just say, hey, what are you doing and how are you doing that? And for the contractors and subcontractors out there, again, I know it can be a tad annoying when they're standing there and it's wasting your time. But, they're trying to ensure that their investment is taken care of, because, again, it's the largest investment they'll ever make in your life. And for the homeowners out there, understand that some of these subcontractors that are coming out and working on your house, a lot of these tools that they bought out of their own paycheck. My best friend, he works and he buys a ton of tools himself. So, you think, oh, they're charging me so much, but they've had to learn it. And they know how to do it right. And they've also invested a lot of time and effort and money into their tools. So, yes, sometimes it'd be more expensive than what you think it should be, but you got to understand that there's that investment. So this takes a little bit of give and take on both the contractor, subcontractor side and the homeowner side. Be respectful of each other, understand the homeowner wants to make sure you're doing it right, and homeowners understand that, they put a lot of time and effort and money into their trade. So if they're doing a good job, tell them they're doing a good job, but also make sure they are doing a good job in the first place. And the reason that I didn't take video, well, I originally took video with the first kid, and I realized I couldn't use it because his face was all over it, and I wanted to be respectful for him. So I really hope that he went back to his place of business and said, "Hey, I just got fired," and obviously he said I wasn't doing it right, and there was a reason for that. Let's make sure I'm trained, because I really do wish that kid well, and I hope he has a good long career in the industry. So I wish him well. But thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Just hope this helps some of you out there when you're getting work done from both the homeowner side and when you're doing the work from the contractor side. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.